Man, there's a big freight train at 5 o'clock this morning. That dude was long.
Yeah.
Mayor, we're ready when you're ready.
Just waiting for Ron Keller.
Okay.
Real quick.
Sent you 2 messages in a moment.
Text
So
me.
Is there a number?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm calling.
Go ahead.
Heard me already.
All right, it's 5:32. We will open the public insurance meeting. If you'd like to speak, we'll have each person come one by one up here to the desk. Make sure you state your name, speak into the microphone, and try and keep it, if you can, to a limit of 5 minutes apiece, if possible. So it's all yours.
Good evening. My name is Frank Hoskins. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the business agent. Represent the street and alley guys. They've kept me in the loop on your insurance issue and situation. And I see that you've added some extra plans to take a look at. It would be our hope that you as a council will take heed in what the committee recommends. I've looked at the differences in the money. It's minimal. You shouldn't lose sight of the fact that your employees are also taxpayers as well. You have several Health Alliance alternative plans. Looking at them, you have the alternative point of service plan that pretty much coincides with the current plan. And from what I'm reading and looking at, it's relatively comparable. I would hope that before you make any decision, though, that you would take the advice and listen to what the committee has to tell you. The whole point of forming that committee was to have a voice and have some input into what kind of insurance plan that everybody's going to have to live with. And for whatever reason, they chose a plan that the committee wanted, and then for some reason that plan did not come to fruition. So, like I said, before you guys make any decision, I would hope that you would take the recommendation of what the committee has to tell you. That's all I got.
Kevin, do you have a comment?
Well, I'm kind of confused because the way we all understood it, the committee was formed to find a better alternative for family coverage. And at the final committee meeting, the city administrator sent out an email, and we voted on the plan that the committee decided on. And then once that vote was had, then they come back and said, no, that's not what we want something else. The original vote was for something that was more acceptable for family coverage. And that's what the insurance committee had discussed. And it is my opinion that's what was agreed on, and it was stated in a meeting on the record that when that meeting was over, that's what it was agreed upon. Not till after the vote happened did everybody decide, no, that's not what we wanted. We wanted something else. So So to tell us not to go with the way the committee voted, I think that's a wrong statement, because we did go by what the committee wanted. They have changed their minds since then.
That is not what I was told. Okay? When I got involved in this and was notified, I was told that the committee had no idea what was going on, and they came to City Hall and said, we want to keep the current plan that we have. Okay? Keep the current plan that we have. That's what was said.
How did they not know what was going on? Did they not attend the committee meeting?
Sure, they attended the meetings, but
Was there street and alley representation at every meeting?
They were pouring asphalt that day. They were pouring asphalt that day, and they walked in just after we had adjourned. So we sat and talked to them for a moment. But they didn't say same plan. They said we want to keep Health Alliance.
yeah, the current, that's what you have. Health
No,
Alliance,
they wanted to
current.
keep Health Alliance. The plan that was voted on was Health Alliance.
Okay, I got you. All right. But you, that's not the plan that I was told that they said that they wanted. They said that they wanted the current plan to be renewed. Okay, and then I find out that not everybody was notified and given the 60-day notice. Grievances were filed, then all of a sudden you guys come in here and you have another vote, and it's only good until March 1st, and to satisfy the grievance, I'm sure, but I'm sure that that's not going to play out as well either. So all I know now is that you got 5 Health Alliance plans, okay? And the point of service plan is almost identical to the current plan, okay? Almost identical. So once again, I think you need to have everybody on the same page and everybody in these meetings, not, have a meeting and then talk to one representative without everybody else in there, because I'm telling you, I'm hearing a whole lot of different stories from what everything is being said. So that's all I got to say.
Steve and Beth.
Beth, how many grievances were filed?
We just had, the 60 days was with the FOP, and then the fire department asked to open up Article 22, which is the insurance article, health insurance, life, and, what's the other one, Peggy? Life insurance, health, and, And then, so that was the only grievance that was filed. The street department came in and, let's see, they gave us a verbal grievance, and then they came in, a couple days later. Who knows? Can you tell me here a minute? I can't remember how, but anyway, it was them that did that. It said that they wanted to grieve this decision between the alternate, what the city council chose, instead of the renewal.
All right, I just was curious because I thought there was only one officially filed grievance
And that was with the FOP.
with the
And the
FOP.
city council
So Streets and Alley never filed an official grievance.
filed a grievance, but was, I don't have the wording with me. Do you know, Peggy, what you've got on there?
I believe the statement said that they were not informed of the change or something of that nature.
Okay, that was it. But I do want to say, this is our first year that we put this together, and this was 2 out of the 3 unions had said that they wanted to do this when we first were negotiating for a 3-year contract. And so with the 2 out of 3 wanting this, and the people that were sitting on the unions that were here, we assumed, and I erroneously assumed, that they all knew whoever was sitting at the insurance table, our employee insurance advisory committee, that they were representing their own respective Article 22s. And so there's where we got into a little bit of the 60-day issue with one. We got a $1,500 deductible with another. So that's where some of the issue is. And I do want to clarify, I did not send out the initial thing. That was, city clerk sent that to the council, not me.
I found that. Okay. Local 399, operating engineers, or street department. On 12/5, the city council did not receive the correct health insurance committee policy recommendation. That's their facts of giving rise to grievance. Relief requested that the council receives the correct health insurance committee recommendation. That's all it was. And it says grievance at the top, so, but we never heard no more.
Mr. Hoskins, I do have a question for you. You mentioned POS, and it says on here PPO, unless I'm looking at wrong paperwork. It was HMO, HSA, and PPO is what we were given.
Alternate 2 and 3 have POS at the top.
Oh, I see the proposed. I've got you. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Hi, guys. Bill Gandolfi. I'm with the street department. I'm also on the insurance committee. There was obviously some confusion. I know Mr. Bateman speaks about the vote. The confusion came with the original us saying that we wanted to reinstate, and that was previous to the vote that landed us where we are right now. I don't think discussing that really does any of us any good. We are where we are. There are several alternative plans here that me, the street department, and the gentleman that I represent would be more than happy to accept, just to get it all ended. The POS, which is just a point of service, there's very little that changes that. It makes it a little more hands-on for the actual employee. They have to handle a little bit more of their own paperwork and things of that nature, and that's, I think, how Health Alliance is able to drop the expense. Instead of the 19% increase, you're looking at 12.02. So I know there's some savings to the city. There's some savings to the employee. It might not be a even split, but it is a little bit of give and take. All we would ask is that you guys would at least look through them, review them. Like I said, there's several plans here that I think we would probably be willing to accept. That would be better for everybody. So
You said POS, which,
that would be the Health Alliance Alternative 2. That is the one that everybody is the most fond of. It also has the 12% premium increase, which is more than the majority of the others, but also less than what you guys are facing now. So it is a bit of a in-between, a little give and take is kind of what we're shooting for. Is there any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'm Jason Van Winkle, Lincoln Firefighters Local 3092. I just want to reiterate with what Billy had said. I've just spoke with our members, and this alternative plan 2 that is brought forth is a $1,500 deductible with 100% coverage. Excuse me. And this plan, speaking with my members, would work as well with us. It is cheaper than what we're paying now. It saves the city money, and it also saves our out-of-pocket as well. So this plan is better than what we currently have. Probably not as good as what you want to go to in March, but instead of going to arbitration and having more cost and headache by members of the council and our unions, we feel this would work suitable for us. Thank you for your time.
Kevin?
What is our current annual premium? I know the one that's on here is with the 19%, but what are we currently paying?
Is it like 520? Because it was a $144,000 increase with the 19%.
well, as Nancy knows, these bills are coming in and it's got changes on them, so we don't have a, this is the answer bill yet, because they're playing,
Okay.
People switch plans or whatever, and they're playing
Okay.
catch up there. I know Sarah and I had conversation regarding the POS because she actually called and explained more on that. So would one of you explain that POS, how that works about the If you have to have a referral to a specialist. Yeah.
Yes, please.
I know people called Sarah, but just so everybody knows that.
With the POS, you have to have a primary care physician. So it kind of operates similar to an HMO in the fact that you need to have a primary care physician. You need to let Health Alliance know who that primary care physician is, and they direct all your care. So if you're going to a specialist, you get a referral. Your primary care will refer you to the specialist, which is actually quite similar to how PPOs are operating somewhat too, or physicians in general. Specialists are now requiring referrals from your family doctors. So it's probably not too big of a change there. But again, if I used an example, if your physician in the medical group you're currently in retires and you decide to switch to a different medical group that's in network, you're going to be responsible for letting Health Alliance know that you've switched physicians and that you've changed your primary care physician. It's just a matter of making sure that Health Alliance is on the loop on that. But other than that, that is the main thing. If you are doctoring, let's say, Central Illinois, the POS network is pretty similar to your PPO network. So there's not much of a network change for you there. If you are doctoring, though, in Chicago or St. Louis already, I'll use that as an example, you're going to need to go through the referral process as soon as if you decide to change to the POS plan. You're going to have to get that referral process going, letting your physician know that you've changed health plans. You need to get a new referral to this specialist. So there is that. There might be extra work that you have to do because you've switched to a POS plan. But once you've gone there and you've got your referral set up, you should be good to go.
Does anyone have any questions? Kevin?
So just doing the math, I took 665, 880 minus 19%. I come up with 539,362 for the current plan we have. That's a ballpark, as Peggy said, because the bills are coming in. So if you take the 539,362 and go to the POS alternate 2, that would be a difference to the city on an annual basis of $87,602.
And just a reminder on your HSA plan, that is where most of your enrollment is currently. The $1,500 deductible plan.
Steve, did you have a comment?
I was going to ask Kevin if he had his calculator over there. How much is this option, the 12%, costing us over what we paid last year?
87,000.
Oh, 80.
Yeah, I took the 665, 880, which is the renewal for what we have right now that we're currently in. I deducted the 19% because that's with the 19% added onto it. That came to 539,362 annually. The new plan would be 626,964 annually. So that would mean the city would the taxpayers, not the city council, the taxpayers, everybody in this city would be absorbing the difference for the insurance for $87,602, which is roughly half the sidewalk budget.
But what about the other plans? We do still have a PPO and an HMO that needs to be decided. Looks, everyone in the back of the room has HSAs, but.
They spoke up. I've got a note at the top. Fire is POS alternate 2. Street and alleys POS alternate 2. Nobody else has mentioned anything else. So until they come forward with what they would like to discuss, that's what I'm got to go with.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
I just want to tell you that I've enjoyed working with them, and they've done a great job. I've also enjoyed having my PPO that I had last year. The Health Alliance has been remarkable. Thank you.
Is there anybody from the police department here to speak? Paul?
No, I don't believe so. I think they have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, and they were going to wait till that meeting to discuss their options with the city, so.
Chief?
I just want to make one comment, kind of what you were talking about with the grievances. The contract that the union signed back in May specifically states in Article 22.2 that there would be a $1,500 deductible option. When the policies were presented to them, there was a $2,800 option on the HSA end, which violated the contract. So according to their contract, they didn't have to file a grievance. All they had to do was bring it to the attention of the council or the Labor Relations Committee. So when they did that, that started a 30-day, you have to make a decision within that 30 days, which is February 14th. Otherwise, they can go straight to arbitration and have an arbitrator decide which one they get.
Kevin?
So if that's the case, the Health Alliance QHD HB $1,500 PPO alternate 1 is a $1,500 deductible, and it's only a 4.8% increase instead of a 12. So that's, if the $1,500 is the stumbling block, the council could go with that plan, and it's only a 4.8% increase instead of a 12.2.
Jason Van Winkle again. So, Mr. Bateman, you want to tell us that when you have all the members working, Street and Alley and Lincoln Fire Department members, you just can go with something that we don't want that gives us an 80-20 instead of 100%, which we're requesting, which we have now? Is that what you're telling me?
No, what I'm trying to point out is the city doesn't have an unlimited supply of money, Mr. Van Winkle. We have to sit up here every single time and talk about pump stations going down and whether we can fix the sewer plant and trucks and everything else. And it seems to me that you have absolutely zero disregard for how much money it's going to cost the taxpayers. We have to come up with $87,602 somewhere. I asked you the last time you were here where you thought that should come from, and you just said it wasn't your problem. Well, it's our problem. We have to figure out where to come up with $87,602 when we sit up here and discuss things for less than $10,000.
Okay.
So,
well, the city has been saving money on Lincoln Fire Department since 2001 when it reduced our manpower. Take that money that you've saved and put it towards our insurance. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you have other comments?
Brett Triplett with the Lincoln Fire Department. So fairly new to this insurance debate stuff and just trying to sit back and listen. But I know this is expensive. I apologize. Get a little worked up just sitting back there listening. So it's $87,000 is the plan that we agreed to, and it is different from what we've had, but I think it shows we're willing to make a compromise here. That $87,000, and how many employees are on the insurance? How many city employees are there?
There's an even amount, and then the mayor makes 13, so 6 and 6.
No, there's got to be more than that. Total on the insurance.
13.
No.
Oh, across all
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the insurance advisory committee.
No, you're talking, this is going to cost the city $87,000, right? And is there 50 some? There's got to be more than that.
Oh, we got retirees also.
Yeah, so
67? Is that right?
we don't know
Nancy?
how many people,
Well,
how are we negotiating this if we don't know how many people we're insuring?
I think it's like, we've talked about this before, it's
Yeah.
like 70-something, right? I mean,
with retirees and everybody included.
Okay, okay. So if you take that 87,000 that it's gonna cost, divide it by 77 employees, that gives you $1,100, right? $1,130. Divide that by 12 months. That costs you $94 per person a month. You can't afford $94 per person a month to make a compromise to insure them?
We have not heard from the police department yet. What if they don't go with this plan? We're still at square one here.
I
And
agree. I
just-
agree, but
I'm just saying, I understand your math, but you also have to understand our math. We sit up here and worry about paying $3,500 to fix a sewer pump this week, trying to figure out what line item that's going to come from.
No.
So I understand where you're coming from, but what I guess I'm coming across is arrogant or whatever you want to say, but when Mr. Van Winkle says he doesn't care, it's our problem. We still have to come up with $87,000, whether it be $1 per person or $10 per person. We still have to the dollar amount's the same.
well, and I understand that. All I'm saying is you got to understand we're willing to work with you. I understand he comes across a little hard when he says that's not his problem. It's not up for us to decide how you guys budget your money. We can't do that. But we do have to take care of our families, and we have to look out for the best interest of us. And that's the insurance committee was an idea that started with the fire department union, because I was on that negotiating board. And it's because both sides, us and you, are vested in this, and we want a long, healthy relationship with the city. So we're not coming in here, in our contract it says we have a $1,500 deductible, but if that's going to make a plan worse for us, then let's talk. We're not saying we're not willing, but this is what we have. It's $1,500. We just told you a plan that we would accept that has a $1,500 deductible, and it's going to cost you $87,000. I apologize. We don't set the insurance rates. The committee was designed to maybe go shop around a little bit. I understand the committee has just got put together, and maybe we're expecting too much out of this too soon. So I apologize that right now it's not going good as far as how this is going. But hopefully the committee will continue to grow and we'll find an improvement somewhere down the line. I don't know. It obviously isn't going to get better overnight.
Steve, do you have a comment?
Mr. Triplett, thank you for coming in and sharing. Appreciate that. And insurance costs just keep going up, right? And so, as you mentioned, $94 a day per employee. But a year from now, if it goes up another 19%, what is that going to cost the city? And you keep going up and keep going up. So at some point, the city's not going to be able to absorb all those insurance costs going forward. So I know it's good for you and your family. The city council has to look at what's good for the city as well. So that's some of our things that we're trying to work through and to, figure out. Because we know insurance costs just keep going up. And we can understand wanting to keep the 100% because insurance keeps going up, right?
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, and that's what I'm saying is none of us sitting here control the insurance rates. So obviously health insurance is going to go up as it goes, but that's why this committee needs to keep rolling. And I think it's off to a rocky start. I think everybody agrees on that. There were some misunderstandings apparently in these meetings. So, but it sounds like to me the city's trying to rush into saving some money, which I don't blame you. However, it obviously has come to a shock. If it was just one union that disagreed, but when it's all three, don't you think there was obviously some major misunderstandings here?
Kevin?
Well, again, and I appreciate your service in coming up here, but the problem is, and I appreciate the fact of trying to work with us. The problem, I'm just stating the math and the fact that once this meeting's over tonight, we have to go back and we'll get with Mr. Conzo and we're going to have to find line items in the budget to try to come up with $87,602. And as Steve said, next year that may be another $100,000, and in the year after that. So at one point, we have to get all on the same page here that you're a taxpayer, and so is the person that lives next to you. So, as I stated previously, sometimes it's knocking on the door saying, hey, by the way, my insurance is going up. Do you mind paying for it? Because that's what our job is, sitting here as aldermen. I understand where you guys are coming from, but what it seems to me from the comments that were made, you have at least one fireman that's not understanding where we're coming from. That this $87,000 comes from the whole city, not just the city council. So every line item has to be looked at. We're getting ready to start the budget process, and we're working on it. But the problem we have right now is nobody from police showed up. So you guys can say this, but we have no idea what kind of softball they're going to throw us. So this may not work out the way it is. I'm just simply stating the math facts, and that we have to come up with that somewhere.
And that's all I'm saying is I just want you guys to understand we are willing to work with you. We don't like when push comes to shove. We do have contract language that if we can't agree on this, that we'll take it to arbitration. I believe the cops already had their meeting set up, so I don't know, when this got scheduled. I can't speak for them. But we're here tonight telling you we are willing to work with you. We'd appreciate it if you would listen to what we have to say, but it also doesn't create a good working condition between the two of us if we tell you what we want and then you just sit here and say, well, here you go. This is your $1,500. It's going to cost you more, but it's going to cost us more, and this is it. So, I mean, you don't like how Jason sounded, but we also don't like how you sound, so it kind of goes back and forth. So, thank you for listening to me.
Can I say something? I just wish when this all started, the fire department would have told us that they had that clause in their contract saying that they have to have a $1,500 HSA, because R.W. Garrett's went out for these other bids. We wouldn't even looked at that $2,800. We had no idea, and that was the fire department people that was in the committee that should have known their own language to say, hey, wait a minute.
That contract
Before you go
has
further.
2 sets of signatures on it,
I know.
so it's got ours and yours.
When we were in negotiations with all three, we bypassed Article 22. We all TA'd off on it and went. And so I assumed that you were happy with what was in it. So that's where little misunderstanding going. We know going forward we have a lot of different little things we need to iron out. But I do want to say in defense of R.W. Garrett, I think they've been the most professional and most thorough and diligent trying to get these quotes. Every time we had meetings, they've come back and forth. We've asked them in our committee meeting to talk, and they have explained. And we had representatives. Now, I understand later that we should have asked the union from all three to appoint those 2 individuals. We didn't realize that. So now we do know that. But in the meantime, those 2 from each of those unions should have been compelled to go back and talk to all of their union and all of their fellow workers and see what they wanted. That all of that communication didn't happen, as far as we understand. So I'm not defending anybody. I'm just saying we all made a little bit of mistakes in different areas, and we know better going forward.
And I think that's where we're all at. I think we all agree that the ball got dropped a little bit, so hopefully we can build on it and work to make it better. I mean, but please take into consideration what we're proposing.
Well, I think we can fix the problems. I don't think that's an issue. Compromise, can be found. What concerns me more is, and I guess you guys don't really have to care, but what we have to care about is the fact that we have an advisory committee that was put together made up of multiple unions. It's made up of people that aren't even union members, okay? So those non-union members have to live with whatever the rest of the union comes up with simply because they don't have a contract to back them up. That's right or wrong. It doesn't matter. But going back to what Kevin said, if police doesn't agree with what you said, we're at an impasse again. It doesn't really matter what fire wants. Now we're at the mercy of police. So we're trying to negotiate insurance for 3 different unions with one committee. Personally, I think the committee has been a colossal failure. Nothing less of a failure, because it got us to this point. We didn't have this problem in the past. Then again, you guys didn't have a voice in the past, and I'm glad we could give unions a voice, but now we've created another issue that we have to work with moving forward. And as I started out saying, we'll fix this problem. I'm more worried about what we're dealing with next year, because we now have a committee, and please don't take this the wrong way, but it's called an advisory committee, but we're sitting here because you made an advisement and it was taken into consideration, but you didn't receive what you wanted. So is that what we have to deal with in the future? Is that what's coming out of that advisory committee is exactly what you want, and anything less will get us to this point again?
No.
I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying these are the things that I think we have to think about when we're talking about this committee and figuring out how to improve it.
I don't want you guys to think that we sit around and scheme up ideas to cost you money. You know what I mean? We wanted this committee because we thought we could work together to look for better insurance.
Right.
We're not out to, yeah, I agree. From the sounds of it, this committee flopped. So it's the first year. I agree. Insurance rates are probably going to go up next year, but that's also why we should work together to figure out a better plan. And the part of this, the proposal you sent out was the $2,800 deductible. It doesn't meet our contract, and I apologize that our committee members didn't mention it, but to me, that's a 50-50 shot on who's responsible for knowing that number.
There was a lot of miscommunications in this. I think if we tried to pinpoint where it all went wrong, good luck. It's like pin the tail on the donkey, right? So we have to figure out what's broke. We have to figure out how to, and I said this to other aldermen, is you guys provide a service for the community. We rely on you to keep us safe. We have to do what's right by you and your family, but we also have to do what's right by taxpayers too. And we always figure out where to come up with the money. It's just a matter of when we take away that money from something else, what else has to give. That's really what it boils down to.
And that's the part I can't help with. And I'm not trying to beat you up and demand things or anything like that. I'm just trying to kind of voice, like, we're not exactly happy with the committee either, and we didn't plan it to say you guys have to do this, and we're not. Yes, our contract says we will have a $1,500 deductible, but we hope that you guys won't take advantage of us because of that contract says that we have a $1,500 deductible.
Well, the other part that I didn't understand about the committee part was, it seemed like the 3 unions said, and there's language written somewhere, that they wanted to form a committee to try to come up with insurance that would better suit people with families. But yet, as soon as that happened, the family aspect was chucked off to the side, saying, wait a minute, I'm not worried about family insurance anymore. You want to raise my deductible, which started part of the confusion, because the whole committee, that committee started, was brought together and worked through what would be best for people who want to put their families on the insurance plan. But when it came down to that was the choice of insurance, then it was like, no, we don't care about our family. I only care about me and what my insurance is. So that started the ball rolling in the conversations of, well, why did we start this committee for family aspect when all of a sudden, once reality hit, family was chucked out the window?
What I can say about this, I helped negotiate the contract that was 3 contracts ago that we put in an insurance committee. The committee was just finally put together in the last 12 months. 4 months. It was 4 months. So that's been in our contract for the last 12 years, and it was never, no movement was made on the committee. I can tell you it was not put in there to get cheaper family insurance. It was put in there to get cheaper insurance as a whole. Now, I can't speak because I'm not on the committee for how the meetings went. But what I can say is the idea of the committee was for us to help research and come up with ideas to save money on insurance. It was a good-hearted effort, okay? It was not for family insurance. The family insurance has always been unaffordable. It would be great if we can stumble upon something that makes that affordable. And I can't say, like I said, I was not on the committee. I don't know if those meetings went that way or not. But I can tell you, when the fire department put that in the contract, it was for cheaper insurance in general because insurance was getting out of hand then. So it's been something the fire department's been willing to work on for a long time, and it has just now, we have been invited to help with it. Now, I can't help, I understand you have a lot of different heads, and obviously nobody is going to see everything the same way. So that's not up to me. But I can tell you that when that was put together, it was just to help find cheaper insurance 12 years ago.
Tracy.
Peggy, do you know, or maybe Nancy does, what was I tried to look it up online, but I couldn't find it. What was our increase last year? Do you know?
The percentage? I don't know what the percentage was.
Nancy, do you remember? I know you've slept a few days since then.
It was more than 5, right? It was 5, I believe. Was it
5%? Okay.
For 2019, January 2019.
Yes.
Okay, let's clear that.
Yeah, I believe it was going to be a 30% increase this year before the insurance company met. And it was for those bids that went out, that brought it down to 19%. So now we're at 12%, so it's getting better. A lot better than 30%.
Other questions? Oh, Chief.
I did want to add also that the $87,000 that Kevin figured up is not only burdened by the city. The union and all the firemen, and I can't speak for the other two unions, we pay 10% of our premium. That comes out of our pockets. So the increases in the insurance are also increases immediately out of our paychecks to go towards the premium.
Kevin.
Correct me if I'm wrong though, but the premium right now, no, I don't know what the premium is right now.
Or HSA? It's on that, yeah.
Under current left column on this one.
That's if we renew the current. What is it right now?
942.
So it's 942, and it would go down to 887. So it'd be 10% of 887. I understand what you're saying, but this plan is better for the employees out of pocket that they pay out per paycheck, but it's still an $87,000 increase. That, again, I'm just saying, we got to come up with the money somewhere. We have to look at every line item to come up with $87,602. If that's the insurance that the police department agree with.
Anything else for Brett?
I appreciate your time, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Brett.
you.
Thank you.
There is somebody here from police. Do you want to speak?
Sean Pettit, Lincoln Police, president of our FOP, Lodge 208. Respectfully, the only thing I am here to say is yes, our union meets tomorrow as a whole in the afternoon before coming here to meet with the committee that we have been working with and making progress with. I can't speak for the union as to what plan right now we would all go with. We're meeting tomorrow. We're going to hopefully have those decisions. My only recommendation is I hope that at your meeting later tonight, a vote is not made to go with the new plan, because we will still have our current open contract negotiations going on under Article 22. The only thing I would like to see is that you maybe open the vote to rescind that March 1st plan with the options of all unions getting together for one of the alternates. That's really all I've got to say. We are meeting tomorrow. I wish we had better answers for you and better representation, but with us meeting tomorrow, we didn't seem too prudent to be here. I just came to observe, but it was kind of called out several times that nobody was here from us. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Sorry, didn't recognize you out of uniform.
I was hiding in the back. It's fine. I was just here to listen and not really be seen or heard.
I wasn't going to call you out till they kept saying nobody was here. So.
I had planned on coming up after enough of those. All right, thank you.
Sean?
Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
I have one more comment I meant to throw out there when I was up here earlier. I also think that with the current plan that you guys put forward with the $2,800 deductible, that if the city was willing to up the ante on their HSA contribution, that would be a way to maybe incur a little bit of the out-of-pocket cost to the employee while also lessening a little bit of the cost to the city. I think there's 55 people that carry that HSA account with the city. Currently, with what you guys put into our accounts, we get about 80% of our deductible paid through that HSA account. So if we could move that number a little closer, even with the $2,800 deductible, that would still kind of lessen the out-of-pocket cost. I think that's probably another option that would keep you less than the $144,000, and probably, actually, if just estimating in my head, probably about $20,000 less than the $87,000 that he was putting out there with the other increases. So just another option to consider, because we are trying to find a way to make it work, right? I know, I think we get $115 monthly put into our HSA accounts. So if you figure going up to $2,800, if we could get somewhere close to that 75-80% covered through the HSA contribution, that would be another way to maybe lessen the cost to everybody.
That would mean that your contract would have to be reopened, though, right?
There would have to be amendments done to the contracts, yes. And fire, yes. We're just looking at options. It's not.
Well, in all transparency, that had been discussed, and to his credit, it was Mr. Bateman who proposed it, so.
Well, we appreciate it. Anything that we can come up with, like I said, to make it good for everybody. Everybody get involved. Yep. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Council have any more comments? Jeff?
Well, I think in light of not a final answer from the police, I'm wondering if, because of the somewhat of a deadline of the 14th of February, if we should have placed a voting meeting on Tuesday the 11th prior to our next cow, just a short 5-minute voting meeting on whatever comes before us with the police. And if there's no action to be taken, there's still an issue, we can just not have, we'll open the meeting and close it with no action, right? So I think as far as voting, getting something done quickly, I think that would be the way to handle it.
Jason?
Then you would, based on this meeting, you would put that on the agenda for the 11th.
Correct.
Lincoln firefighters would be willing to extend for the contract the date of the 14th, if it's mutual agreement between the city and Lincoln firefighters to have some amicable, we'd be willing to extend that date further, since it is such a short time frame. The union would be willing to extend that time.
Do you know how much time?
We'd like to get done as soon as possible, but just it just as an extension, and that'd be, have to sit down with the committees, our board, and come up with a time at that, but we would be willing to extend.
It has to be a decision before March 1st. I mean, it's.
Next
and
one kicks in.
Preferably no later than the 17th of March, which is the regular voting session.
Yeah, I think if it goes beyond that, we lose the rates and have to go back out for new rates.
Like I said, we could extend, like the union, we wouldn't have to, we wouldn't try to go to arbitration on February 14th, because we have to through March 1st. If we get to March 1st or however, be amicable to you guys to, discuss it and have a meeting instead of going straight to arbitration before your guys' time frame.
Just as long as you know before the 14th what we're
Sure.
doing. Okay.
Yep.
that's fine.
We appreciate
Kevin?
that.
So
Thank you.
Jeff's got a good idea, because if nothing comes from it the 11th, then we still have 2 whole weeks before the March 1st deadline, because if we miss the March 1st deadline, all of these get thrown out and it starts all over again, and the rates may go up even more. So I agree with Jeff. If the police come back with a applicable proposal and we can work something out, then we can vote on the 11th. If not, then that gives us 3 more meetings that we could throw something in there that we can work things out.
Jeff?
A question for Nancy, or if you could answer, I guess, maybe you don't know. But I mean, March 1st is pretty much set in stone. I mean, Health Alliance may not budge again, right? They might.
They will not budge again.
Right.
I mean,
So-
we will go back into having to rewrite the plans after
Okay.
that.
All right, thank you.
That might be more than 19. Likely will be.
Are there any other comments? Anyone else that would like to speak? Trace?
No, I just think, I always like to think ahead so we're prepared. And I think it would probably be prudent to ask the treasurer, sorry Chuck, but ask the treasurer to analyze our current budget and identify at a minimum where we can come up with the $87,000. I'm not saying that that's what this council will agree with, but I think we need to start thinking about where it could come from, should that be the agreement that we reach.
And I will do that.
Thank you.
Since Sean's still in the back there, since the street and alley and the fire have nobody on the plan other than HSA, hopefully the police department, I mean, they do have people on PPO, I think, and so, because right now all we're talking is HSA. There's 2 other plans there that I'd hate for the council to leave where it's at and come find out later it's not. So if they want to
We are meeting tomorrow with Sarah.
weigh
and
in.
Hopefully our guys that are on the HMO and PPO can figure out which plan works best for them.
Okay.
And I'll be able to bring that recommendation back to go with the HSA plan.
Kevin?
6 o'clock on the 11th, or do you think 6:30? The law says that the meeting cannot start before 7. If we run long,
I think we
run
could just
long.
do it at 7 and then
You
just
can
go
put it
right
at
into
7
the
and 7.
committee
Call-
meeting after.
We can call a special voting
Yeah.
meeting for 6:30. You can call a special voting meeting anytime, as long as you have enough advance notice to.
Yeah, just put 'em-
Just try and do it
You
the
can-
same night.
Just
You
put
can
them both
have it
at 7
You
o'clock.
can have it at 7 o'clock and just have the cow following after the voting session.
Well, I'm just going by how long our cows have been lately. There's like 30 items all the
The
time.
vote, this short voting session shouldn't take very long.
Okay.
If everything's ironed out.
I'd say let's do it right at 7. Okay.
And you're going to place the insurance on there for a vote, correct?
Rescind.
Correct. Right, yes.
We'll have to wait for the language, right, based on what they come up with.
You've already voted on the March, so you'll have to rescind the March. And
Yeah, you'd have to rescind. And you can table it, of course, based on what, we know that the fire department's willing to wait beyond the 14th. If you haven't reached some agreement by then, that can be tabled until the next voting meeting, which would be the 18th, because 17th is a holiday, President's Day holiday.
Does anyone have anything further? Kathy?
I just want to say thank you to all of you that came to the meeting tonight, and especially to the ones that came up and gave us your opinions. We do appreciate it.
If there's nothing further, then we will conclude this at 6:25 p.m. We have a motion. Jeff? Kevin seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:25.